The importance of creative is more prominent, right? Because it's not easy to brainstorm new ideas, new variants. Our audience is tired of seeing them again and again, and they want to see something new. There are more than 20,000 creators on Twitter. So the same ads don't work anymore, and you need to break the clutter, figure out what you can do differently. People were searching was how to block Facebook ads, how to hide Facebook ads, right? All of us hate Facebook ads. So we're trying to build a creative engine, and in all transparency and fairness, it's easier said than done. It's not as easy to build a creative engine. All of us struggle at some point of time. And in the last 2-3 years, with Apple's privacy changes coming into the picture, with paid social across Meta, TikTok, Snap, everywhere, the importance of creative is more prominent. And that's why we are trying to figure out how do we beat ad fatigue, because creatives now scale content. They start consuming spend and they start fatiguing very quickly. Also, with the influx of UGC and different format of ads, right? Literally everyone is doing the same things, which 2-3 years back wasn't as prominent, right? We'll come to that later. Now, we're trying to figure out how do we do this at a scale with our frameworks, which we have developed. Some of us already know of it, but we plan to see it live in action, right? A little bit about me and what I do. So my name is Anirudh. I go by Annie since it's shorter and simpler for everyone. I'm here with my colleague Jennifer, as she just introduced. I have Hafsa also in the workshop who's helping us. I am the director of growth at Node Media. I have 10-ish years of experience. I've spent $120 million plus. Very fortunate to be in this place to share this with you guys. I have started I was a chemical engineer. Then I did web development for 75 websites. Then I became a media buyer. And 3 years back, I realized I'll be jobless if I don't understand how creatives work and what creators are all about. I'm sure more often than not, most of you guys are in similar boat, right? There is a lot of FOMO in media buyers. If we don't understand creative well, it's going to be a scary path for us ahead, which is very true. There is no false narrative here, right? And these are some of our success stories at Node, what we have been able to accomplish for some of our clients. Soundbox is one of the portable speakers where we have had tremendous success. I've worked with them personally. Shred is one of the gym apps. Spin is one of the coffee maker brands. If you saw one of my LinkedIn posts today, the founder story ads, I censored the name there in the interest of privacy, but that was the founder story ad, which is killing and crushing it for those guys. All right. And these guys are also seeing tremendous success with different format of ads. Now, we'll talk about what do we have for the session today. Again, want to be mindful of the time we have in hand, 50-ish minutes of deadline ahead. And these are the 4-5 big topics we want to touch base. How do we research ad ideas? Number one. How do we brainstorm them? How do we write them? And then 4, very critical, how do we bring them to life, right? And of course, then once you bring them to life, how do you actually launch and analyze them, right? That becomes super critical as well. Here's a beautiful workflow. I think it's beautiful. You guys tell me if it's or it's not, right? These are like the 5 big pieces we see in the creative journey. We start with the creative research, then we go to the brainstorm session, then we script it, bring them to life, and then again launch plus analyze. The most tricky parts are these yellow parts, which are your brainstorming and bringing script to life, right? And why we say it's tricky, because it's not easy to brainstorm new ideas, new variants again and again. All of us are human. We start running out of ideas, and same ideas which used to work at some point of time, they don't work anymore because your audience is tired of seeing them again and again, and they want to see something new. Then number 4 is also very critical and tricky, because you ideated the creative as a media buyer or a creative strategist, but then your copywriter or editor didn't bring them to life the way you want to. And it's very tough to share that feedback with the creators, with the designers on how to do it. Again, all of us struggle on it. We struggle it ourselves as well. But then there are some nuances in how we figure it out, right? And like in life, right, the most tricky elements can be like the most uplift in performance. These are like the two, three creatives. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. Right. So the left one you see here, right? That's like one of the recent winning creators for one of our clients. It's in the funny skit format, right? As you guys might have been seeing, the same old problem solution UGC ads don't work that great anymore, right? The reason behind it is post COVID-19. I was doing this research for our analysis, and it's in later half of our slides. There are more than 20,000 creators on Twitter. There are more than 15,000 creators on Fiverr, right? It's a really nice part-time hobby for everyone, and everyone is doing UGC left, right, and center. So the same ads don't work anymore, and you need to break the clutter, figure out what you can do differently. This format is working really well. Let's watch the ad.
Do you have $100 I can borrow? No, use Vola instead. You can get up to $400 in instant cash, all without any interest or fees for 30 days. And no, there aren't any hidden fees. You just connect your bank account with Vola, then request a cash advance with 3 easy taps to make sure you can pay for everything you need and improve your finances. Go download Vola on the App Store or Play Store.
Yeah. Why do you guys think this ad would be working? Drop in comments and let us know.
Back to the gym. That's right. I've been to the gym before, but never knew how to make progress. Especially what everyone else was doing. I didn't follow any plan. With clear instructions for every workout, I know what works best for my body. But personalizes my journey. Fred is helping me get fit by tailoring workouts to my goals and taking into account available equipment. Get your confidence back.
This was a very high quality production ad, right? Whereas this one was a UGC creator ad where we must have spent 1/10 of the cost versus this one, right? It's for two different brands, but just for comparison stakes, right? And this one is killing and crushing it versus the third one here is struggling with performance. And we have my friend John also joining in. John is really strong with his video editing skills. He has built an 8-figure D2C company. He currently runs Ads RX. So a lot of exciting learnings from together from John as well. So really grateful, John, to have you here. And then, yeah, let's dig in the next set of part. So we'll figure out how do we do research, right? How do we analyze competitors for angles in messaging? Check Reddit, Facebook groups, TikTok for trends, dig deeper into ads comments, and then dig into your own plus competitor reviews. Right, number one, how do we analyze our competitors? So there are these 3 to 6 pillars. Number one, the concept. What's the big idea they're capturing? The triggers, the emotions, the prompts, etc. Number 2, what is the hook? Obviously, in the first 2-3 seconds, which must be attention grabbing. Number 3, what script structure are they using? Is it problem agitate solution? Is it an ADA? Is it something else? Right. Then number 4 and 5, 6, this is more on the editing and visual aspects, which we want to analyze as well with our competitors. That what are the different short types, transitions, text overlays, emojis they're using? What's like the pacing styling they're using, right? And number 6, and very important, which we more often than not ignore it. Barry Hot yesterday, I think, tweeted about it. A 75% hook rate is useless if your ad is not grabbing relevant attention, right? You can grab attention by doing very different kind of random things, but if it's not relevant to your audience requirements, not relevant to your landing page, then it's garbage, right? How do we do this at scale, right? So obviously you have your good old friend Facebook ads library and TikTok ads library, which is free of cost. But then there are these 4 big competitive research tools which I know of. Magic Brief, Foreplay, Atria is a new one in the territory, and then AdNova is one which is right now out of the 4, that's the only free one. All the other 3 tools are paid. All tools more or less have their own pros and cons, so not going to dig deeper on them. I'm sure most of you guys already know them. And how do we do add comments analysis, right? So this is one of the examples from there is this creative strategist. Even I think on Twitter he posted this a day or two day back, right? That they analyzed one of their ads, and there was this comment, "I want this in my home." They used that exact comment, pasted it on their static ad, and this static ad for them has driven 1,000 plus sales. Very easy to do, but very often ignored. I think 95% I see brands ignoring this and not paying attention to their ads comments. A, you should be very closely watching what positively users are talking about. B, you should also be watching out on what are the negative aspects people are calling out. The most common negative aspect I see is regarding pricing, like how price sensitive that product is. If that's definitely one of the comment category you see, you should justify why you are priced differently. And then on the right hand side, there is this video again from our friends at Shred, which they did on this comment reply, TikTok comment reply kind of a format.
Free trial and try to put them home equipment or not. Choose your own settings. So many types of classes for every mood and goal. You can be a beginner or advanced. Choose live classes or workout at your own pace. Work out alone with a friend or in a group. Reach your goals with strategy.
Right. So this was like the typical comment response format. It started with a comment, serve that solution. And then, yeah, next, and this is again very critical as we are churning out thousands and thousands of pieces of content. How do we analyze TikTok, Instagram, Reddit trends, right? So this is a snapshot from the TikTok category, but you can literally do the same exercise across the platform. TikTok and Instagram reels are very, very helpful to spot what are the new memes, new reels format which you are seeing. What are the songs trend you are seeing, which obviously you can't use copyrighted content, but like what are some of the non-copyrighted content you can see. Then to summarize, these are like the 5 major key points. Number 1, like I said, reels or challenges you should spot. You should also track what are like the key hashtag which is going popular in the industry. You should poll your own audiences, right, on Instagram story to understand what are their content preferences as well. Then number 4, you also should drill down and see in your specific niche, like let's say if it's a gym or fitness app, what's trending. Like in news, there's always this challenges and this new resolution format which works really well. So you should definitely lean on that. If you are a fashion brand, right, you should be doing trends around how I dressed up and stuff like that, right? Then number 5, and very critical, spot what influencers in your category are doing, right? Influencers are very top of these new trends, and they know how to game, if not game, but how to tame the lion, in easier words. Does that make sense? Thumbs up, Jennifer. Great. Cool. Now, how do we do this with AI, right? So this part is very interesting and important. How do we do this with AI? The research part, specifically, let's say you have research, reviews, ad comments from your support tickets, from your ads, etc., etc. Right. So we did this for Shred again. We had a list of 2,700 to 700 reviews. We compiled them in a Excel format, and then we uploaded it to ChatGPT 4. You must have a ChatGPT 4 if you want to do the spreadsheet analysis function, and then prompted with these kind of prompts, right? And the output was something like this, and it might not be right way legible for all of you guys, but I'll call it out. The output it gave us very clearly was what are the key value propositions, what are the key unique features or benefits which my users are experiencing, what are the pain points, what are the desired outcomes, and based on all of these factors, then you can start nailing down different ad angles, right? Because all of these are really literally goldmine for ad ideas to reach out a new set of audiences for you guys, right? Then we'll lean on to the next topic, which is ideation. Based on learnings from the research, we shortlist what are the 3 big challenges my target audiences have faced. What are those benefits, transformations, again, they are seeking, how my products actually solves it. And you want to then start nailing down it in terms of the concept, the hook, and the script. So let's shortlist based on concepts, right? So these are the 18 big concepts. And like I said, not all the concepts would be relevant for all the brands. You want to start with this priority list, right? That based on the big problem solutions, based on your research of competitors, research of influencers, what are the most relevant formats which make sense? If I had to call out the 3, 4 big formats, and I want you guys also to contribute, what are some of the big formats, concepts you guys are seeing work very well for you guys? For us, like we said, founder story is working very well, right? Then 3 reasons why obviously has been a very old trend, but still continues to work. Before and after is an evergreen format, which works very well on UGCs as well. Then something new, which we are seeing, and that's very popular in the industry these days, is the podcast style ads. One theme you will see in all these 3, 4 concepts, podcast style, founder story, funny skit ad, is that these ads right away don't look like ads. When I'm watching a podcast style ad, I don't think I'll think right away that it's an ad, right? And that's why the engagement, the conversion on these formats is comparatively much better than anything else. I was doing this research again on Ahrefs, on Facebook ads as a topic. One of the biggest top search volume people were searching was how to block Facebook ads, how to hide Facebook ads, right? All of us hate Facebook ads. Now, based on the learnings you have, you want to nail down what ad concept you want to start with, right? These, like I said, you want to start with some of the ad concept which your competitors are not aggressively doing, and that basically gives you an edge and your ads stand out. 2, you want to do ad concepts where you have already seen success with, right, which is iterations, right? And then you also want to make it relevant with those hooks, right? So hooks are your 3-second video views divided by impressions, for anyone who doesn't know that. But you want to make sure those hooks are very relevant to the target audience pain points, number 1. Number 2, they should call out the benefits very early in as the value propositions, right? Meta, in fact, recommends that you do that as early as 3 to 5 seconds, right? So bring it as, and something we want to try and we want to correlate is some of those hooks should be polarizing. Some of those hooks, we have seen something recently which works really well, is hooks with queries or questions. They tend to work really well. Then number 4, you want to use relevant trends or memes as hooks as well. And yeah, very important. But the last point, make sure you test multiple hooks, right? Every time we work with a creator, we ask them to give a minimum of 2 to 3 different hooks, which maximize our success. And that's been a common trend. This is literally that comparison of those 2 video, right? On the left hand side, there is this one which starts with, hey, can I borrow $100? Whereas the one on the left is, do you have $100 I can borrow? What do you guys think? Which one would have done better, A or B? Yeah, curious to know. Getting a lot of A's, only 1 B for now. Sanskar, A, B, Diksha, B. Jennifer, I think you already know the answer, right? I think
Sorry, what did you say?
you already know the answer to this. Which one is working? Or I think you don't know that.
I didn't look. Well,
Okay.
I do remember one of them outperformed the other one by a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? Which one, A or B?
Let's go with A.
Let's go with A. Okay. I'm voting for the more dramatic one. Audrey, which one is that? Is that the A or B format? B, B, B. Yeah, it is actually B. The this one is working, and it's A. It's dramatic. That's very well. You spotted it, Audrey. And B, it's also working because it's a query question related format, right? It kind of hurts the, I think, apart from query and dramatic, the emotional reason why the B one is winning is because it hurts that person very clearly, this in the skit format, and that's why probably it's working comparatively better. It's working very well, by the way, on TikTok and Facebook, both platforms. Very rarely we see same creative doing really well across both the platforms, and it's definitely the case for this app, right? Then how do we do this, right? We obviously have a relevant hooks repository. I think a bunch of you guys already have access to this, but if not, we'll give you guys access to that directory as well. And uh, yeah, Sanskar, I know you're calling out. If you can play out, want to just save in the interest of time. We have 30 minutes to go, so would send it out the deck and you can watch it later. And yeah, ideation, scripting. So agitate PAS solution is very boring. Everyone does it. It's the easiest one to do. If you're starting out brand new, probably you should still do it. But if you have a brand established, you've done tons of content, and you want to move out of that fatigue, you want to diversify your creative mix, please, for the love of the god, don't do problem agitate solution, or you become something like this, right? And we don't want to do that. So then we use AI once you run out of ideas manually to do that, right? And brainstorm in this kind of a format. We generate ideas for textual hooks, visual hooks, add concepts, ideas, etc. Blah blah blah. The way we prompt it is something like this, and output for the coffee brand looks something like this. Tired of coffee that doesn't cut it? Discover what you've seen, what you've been missing. Say goodbye to wasteful pods. Join the zero wasteful revolution. Blah blah blah. Right. So these kind of different hooks can be generated. Then we come to the most critical part, which is the end game for scripting. So in terms of scripting, there are these various scripting frameworks. Shout out to Nzden for developing a lot of these. There are these 6 structures: hook, bad alternative, education, product intro, specific details, benefits, results, CTA. This is the structure number 1 is like my favorite. And I really like it because you start with a hook, you capture attention, and then you show the bad alternative. I really like to show this bad alternative. I was really recently chatting with this fertility brand, and for them, it was very astonishing for me that they were not targeting the bad alternatives, the typical market solutions, which are like IVF or the other painful solutions for conceiving and pregnancy, right? And that's like a big opportunity because Ridge does a brilliant job of it, right? Ridge wallets, they show like how men hate those big cranky fat ass wallets, and why Ridge is a perfect solution because of its thin size. Cool. And then there are these 3 other script formats. Similarly, we have this recommendation on AI for using AI for scripting as well. Again, we'll share this.
A flat tummy in 2023. How get your tummy from this to this? Less than $50, and it's not by working out. Introducing May Always Be Flat, a belly firming cream that has been transforming women's tummies. The transformation in my belly has been insane. So much tighter, firmer, and smoother in just a couple weeks. May Flat even went through rigorous clinical trials with panels of real women, where 93% said they saw a sleeker and firmer looking belly in just a couple weeks. Thanks to the pink pepper slim and avocado extract, there is even a 60-day.
Such a brilliant ad. It has like tons of social proof, so many good. I think that ad is like a Bible in itself, a mini Bible in itself, if not more. Then there is this Rise ad, which I really loved as well. It's a funny skit ad.
What? I'm so sleepy all the time. It's really hard to find motivation and motivation. Sure, man. Your body's ready. You can wake up and have fun. Sounds a little shady, bro. Stop, bro. You're a sleep scientist and actually improved the NFL team's performance. Bro, what is this for? Analyze your sleep data to calculate when you should go to bed, wake up, and do your most energy-intensive exercise. Like, that's how long until I stop napping and rest. Start feeling more energized in 2 to 3 days. Take a 3-minute course with an doctor, man. Now I'm here twice a day, so they give me a lot.
Right. So such a nice, engaging ad. Doesn't look like an ad per se. Right. Then I had this request from multiple people who wanted to know how to source creators and how to do this really well. So there are these top 3 platforms you see below: Incense, Trend.io by Sona. These 3 platforms you should not use. If you want quality creators, you should not use them at all. But if you are just starting out as a new brand, probably you don't have enough resources, you want to just start out quickly, then these platforms can be decent. The reason we recommend not to use, because we have burnt ourselves and we haven't had great results, because these creators are not really solid creators, and you more often than not, you get low quality content from these platforms. Incense is more or less an exception. Incense has actually some of decent creators, but they are priced at a higher level as well. But yeah, if you want to, you should totally build an in-house creator repository. You should have a creator pool database. We do this at ourselves at Node Media. Jennifer does a great job. Hafsa, my colleague, also does a great job in doing that. And it's very, very tiring and time consuming to do that. How do you do that? You do that via reaching out to these creators on Twitter. There are more than 20,000 plus, like I was mentioning. On Fiverr, there were like 14,000 plus. Fiverr isn't that great quality. Twitter is pretty decent. Then you also reach out to them via Instagram, Twitter, etc., TikTok, etc. Then there are these quality platforms like Backstage and Collabster, which are meant for more creator quality content. And then, yeah, this is literally the summary of that. Use TikTok, Twitter for sourcing, Backstage for talent, have a Notion or spreadsheet for collating that, email outreach with personalized campaigns, help you hit a higher conversion rate with these creators. Then you must retain your top creators. Some of our best creators, we work with them almost every time because they give us the best delivery timelines. They give us the best UGC content at the end of the day for our clients as well, and also work with them for some retainer deals, right? Then once you are done with this, you want to analyze and store learnings like a pro. This is one of the format I borrowed from Dara, and shout out to Dara. She does a great job of summarizing some of these learnings. I think most of you guys would be already aware of her. You should totally check out her YouTube channel for some of these learnings. You want to capture the learnings in this format: top formats, top messaging, top visuals, what's working, and what are the big opportunities for you guys to scale, right? Then this is something I've been doing personally, and this is very, very useful. A lot of you guys again would have access to that. If not, we'll share that access. This is in a spreadsheet format. The other one which was here was for internal deck presentation, maybe with your CXO marketing teams, with your clients. But as a media buyer, as a creative strategist, you want to have something like this, right? Which is in a spreadsheet tracker format. You want to track what tests you ran, what was the result or failure from result, winner or loser, what do you learn, what were the core messaging and transformations your app users saw. So yeah, that's about it. That was most of the learnings we wanted to share. I think we have tons of time to take queries and questions.
Yes. So
Yeah.
thank you for that presentation, Annie. I'm sure that many people have learned at least one thing that is new to them. And so we already have a pipeline of questions. A lot of them are super interesting. So let's get into it. So what are the top 3 mistakes that a founder should avoid when starting a new UGC at creative agencies? Do you have any suggestions?
Oh wow, that's a very good question. Who asked?
Yeah, I was like, wow, damn, like this guy is ambitious.
Who was asking this? I'm curious.
I was asking Sanskar.
Sanskar. Okay. So Sanskar, it's a very tricky query, and it's very challenging and competitive industry. So the 3 mistakes I would recommend if you should avoid. Number 1, avoid working with very low scale early brands. That's the first one I would recommend. Reason being because they expect you to do a lot of heavy lifting, which at your level, if you're just starting out, you might not be ready to do that. Number 2, you should you should charge yourself comparatively better. Never keep your pricing as the USP for your company. And number 3 mistake I would say would be to hire subpar creators, subpar editors. John, I think if he's still there, he would have some couple of learnings to share. Is John still on the list, or did he leave?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. John, what are a couple of things you think you've got some great experience? So I think you can speak to this as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I actually do have a UGC creator agency. So we shoot UGC in-house. So meaning me and my team shoot it, but we also source out creators. And as Annie said, it is a quality game, right? There's so many UGC creators out there, and there's a pool of them. But it's like the 80-20 rule. 20% of those are only 20% are really doing the heavy lifting and worth working with. I think the biggest thing is relationships, building legitimate, trustworthy relationships with your creators and vetting them, right? It's not just like taking on any, because it's a lot of time wasted communicating, getting product back or getting videos back. And you want to just make sure you have a very clear, like, what's the word? Like filtering process. And you want to make sure that these creators are, reputable, have the track record, and that you can build a long-term relationship with. And then, yeah, I think pricing is a big thing too. Everyone is just continually like undercutting it. Creators, here's the thing: creators are getting more and more like they're realizing that shooting videos is a lot of work, and then and brands want to pay less and less for content. But because I'm a creator myself, shooting one UGC can take anywhere between 1 to 3 hours. Okay. That's a long time. That doesn't include scripting or editing, just shooting. So you have to be mindful about like the work that goes into it, but then also charge, a reasonable rate so everyone wins. I think the goal is that everybody should win. You as an agency, the creator, and the brands should all win. So you need to price effectively so that everybody gets their cut. And so, yeah, I think it's just obviously you're going to make a bunch of mistakes and you just kind of have to figure it out as you go. But Annie has done a great job of really laying it down in terms of like, not going to the, Billo and all these places. Like people, you'll have to learn it for yourself. But yeah, I would say that.
Thank you very much, John. That was very helpful. John, now that you're still on the mic, right, I would like to ask a couple of queries, which I have as well. What are the two things you will call out you don't see in the editing post-production part of the ads? Like in terms of pacing or overlays, what are like two, three things you would want to recommend?
Definitely. I mean, it really comes down to your hook and pacing. With one UGC could be turned into dozens if done right. And like I said, like in the presentation, the strategy is really important. Like you can have a bunch of like editing techniques to try to like cut it fast and like make quick zooms, but if your messaging is off, your video is not going to convert. You can have a really poorly edited video, but if the messaging is dialed in, it'll convert. Like very minimal editing with a very, very clear, driven, direct response messaging based off the creative research, that video is going to outperform a highly edited video. So there is a balance for sure. And if you are editing your videos yourself, make sure that you are creating like text overlay hooks as well as visual hooks and being very clear about what those are in your edit. And then, edit different lengths to the video, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds. Those are all going to perform differently.
Got it. That's very helpful. Thank you so much. Now there are a few queries. Jennifer,
yeah, so let's hop on to the next question.
Yeah.
So that is how to create a nice creative testing plan / roadmap for Meta and IG.
Great one. A good testing plan depends. It's a very depends question, like everything in marketing, right? It depends, number one, on your budget, because how much budget you want to dedicate. Ideally, we want to have at least 20% of the budgets toward testing, right? At the very least, because if you're not testing aggressively, your creatives are going to fatigue very quickly. In terms of the framework or the campaign structure, I like to keep it in a standard ABO campaign with one ad set dedicated to the core concept. So like the skit concept we just saw with Vola Finance brand, right? That concept would sit in an ad set separately with 3 different variants of it. Variants could be with hooks, with thumbnails, or at times actually what has worked surprisingly very well, I manually chop and crop videos on Meta myself. And that also tends to work comparatively better at times. So to summarize, testing plan would be something like this: 20% dedicated budget, separate as testing budget. Once you have winners, run them at least for 5 days. If you see the CPA is more than the average you see on the account, pause them. Never test on cost cap bidding. Always test on broad open targeting bidding. And once you see winning ads, move them to core with the post ID method. But don't pause in the testing ad set. Keep it running. Hope that clarifies.
Okay, thank you, Annie. So next we have a set of questions from Audrey. So question number 1 is, what is the best length for TikTok ads?
Yeah, very great question. TikTok works very different than Facebook. TikTok, we've seen 10 second to 12, 15 second. In fact, more than 20 second on TikTok, where most often than not doesn't work. Meta, on the contrary, less than 15 second on Meta doesn't work as well. So the sweet spot for TikTok is anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds.
Next question, what is the best format for Facebook ads?
I mean, all the formats are best. It's like you're asking what's like the best fruit. All fruits are best. But yeah, videos are the biggest inventory. So you definitely don't want to miss out videos, but also don't miss out on static, because each format does a different job. So sorry, but there is no clear response to that.
Okay. Next question is, what are your thoughts about traffic versus reach ads?
Traffic versus
Are reach ads even effective since it's so broad?
No, reach ads are definitely not at all effective. Reach ads are effective for big brands like Coca-Cola, Hyundai, Toyota, for brands like them. And yeah. Favorite tools? I think I can go on and on. I'm a big tool guy. Motion for
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, Motion for creative analytics, Magic Brief for competitor inspiration. Sovran is one of the new tools in the market for batch hook testing, which we are going to try ourselves. But I loved from what it promises, and Aliva Labs for AI.
Okay, and lastly, how do you send briefs to creators?
Yeah, we have a document and a brief process. I can share that offline with you guys.
Okay. And those are all of Audrey's questions. Thank you, Audrey, for those stack of questions. Love your engagement.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to another question. Are image ads working nowadays like video ads?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Image ads tend to work really well. Static ads have its own charm. Sushil, can you mute yourself? I think there is noise from you. Yeah, thank you. Then we have the query from AK.
Okay. So when should a brand consider full creative production versus small scale iPhone/digital camera production?
Small scale digital camera production. You should always do that if your goal is to drive sales, and you don't want to make your ads look like ads, right? In fact, more often than not, we've seen the studio quality ads, the one we were seeing on the shred deck on the third, right? The reason it also doesn't work is because it completely looks like an ad. When you do like a full creative studio ad, it doesn't work. So most of the times go for that iPhone quality ads.
Okay. How do you source creators and communicate the creative idea effectively?
Yeah, Alex, thank you for the query. I think we discussed in the slide, probably it was prior to that part where we discussed how we source creators. So I think we already discussed how we do that. And in terms of communicating very effectively, your briefs, as detailed, as comprehensive it is, that helps. Jennifer, anything you would add, since you do that yourself as well?
I'd say there are a lot of things you have to consider to communicate to the creator, especially if their scripting isn't super up there. So I've had to communicate things like what you should wear when you're in the video, like what your background should look like. Like it should not be cluttered at all when you're shooting video. However, for the actual creative idea, I think giving them a few keywords like the vibe you're looking for, like we want a UGC style video. It should be casual. So you shouldn't be wearing like a blazer, for example, which is something that actually happened to us the other day when we were working with a creator. So
yeah,
having a few keywords to describe the vibe you're looking for, I think it helps the creator understand what exactly what mood they want to convey, you want to convey.
100%.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. It's what is the best platform to find UGC creators? But it was already addressed in the presentation. So let's move on to the next one. What software do you use for creatives?
Yeah. So creatives, I think we discussed, I answered it in chat as well. So Elever Labs for AI voiceovers, that's very effective and cost friendly as well. I've sent it the name in the chat, so you guys have that. Then at creative.ai, full transparency, we tried it, but the quality of ads wasn't the greatest. So not a big fan of ad creative.ai. Then the other ads, there is this magic ads which is very interesting. You just drop your product link on that tool, and the tool gives you a script and a video ad itself. We're playing around with it. I know a few people who are finding good success with it, but yeah, that's an new territory to explore as well. And then ChatGPT 4 for sure. You have tons of ideas there for scripting.
Okay, so how is AI being used in creating new creatives?
I think kind of the same query.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Do you have any suggestions for creative agencies for creative
I think
okay. So do you have any suggestions for in terms of like which creative agency to go for a brand that's just starting out? Sorry, the question was like
okay.
yeah.
Is it in India? Is it in US? Who asked this query? Maybe that person reaches out to me
So
personally.
I'm basically in India, like if we're starting out in India.
Yes, sorry, but I don't know a lot of Indian agencies to recommend. But I can figure it out, and maybe let's chat on LinkedIn about it. I can send you some recommendations. Yeah, sorry. Scroll Stop is one I know. And then there is a couple of ones I know, but not a lot in the Indian markets.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a follow-up question from Sanskar Saxena. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I've been struggling to set up the right way to price my services. Do you have any advice on that? Like, in which way should we charge as UGC ad creative agency so we can make optimal money every month?
Sorry, I didn't get that very clearly.
So I'll just repeat the question. Or maybe you, the person who asked it can clarify.
Mute
Yeah,
and
I can clarify.
Yeah.
So currently, Tushar, like Anirudh, what we are doing is like we are charging based upon the concepts. So like one concept, it's equal to this much we are charging right now. But based upon that, what the feedback that we're getting from the brand is that okay, like per concept, that how much you're charging is very costly, and we don't want to pay this much upfront. So just the challenge for us right now is to come up with a very right pricing, or like how should we actually price the creatives that we are doing for them in a way, because right now what we are offering is also like it is expensive, or like we are not making much profit out of it. So do you have any suggestions on how pricing should work?
Yeah, so you should definitely factor in and keep 50% margins, more than 50% margins with your this thing, because else it's not a sustainable business in the creative game. Your gross margin should be more than 50%.
Content. So
That
okay.
answers.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
for your question.
Good question.
So
Struggling point.
yeah, very good question.
Yeah.
So how can we find new scroll stopping concepts / ads for fashion brands?
Yeah, Rushabh, I think great questions. Common response to all of this is be on top of your Instagram, TikTok. I know TikTok isn't in India, but Instagram, be on top of those niche creators in your community. Number one. Number two, see what other competitors are doing. I will not recommend taking a lot of inspirations from your competitors right away, because remember, 90% of their ads are failing as well. One of the biggest mistake media buyers do is to just blindly copy competitors, right? but their ads are failing more or less in the same trajectory. So lean on the trends more, right? Just do more educational stuff, do more entertaining stuff, right? I think I touched up on this, like how I dressed up and stuff like that. Do something around that. That's like a better scroll stopping ad inspiration format.
Yeah, and I have something to add to that. So if you go onto TikTok, if you are able to get your hands on like a US or
VPN,
like a North
like a
American
VPN,
copy of TikTok, you can search you can sort the content by the most popular, and then you enter your keywords such as like fashion or like get ready with me, which is a trending hashtag in fashion. And then you sort it by most popular and by most recent. And the videos that appear at the top, those are the trends that you want to replicate for your own brand. Okay, so next question. So based on which metrics do you judge the creative performance in the creative testing
Yeah.
phase and they're conversion oriented?
Yeah, amazing. Great query, right? So the North Star metric is always your CPA or your ROAS, right? If ROAS is not sustainable, then the creative isn't great, right? You don't care about hook rate, you don't care about hold rate. We have seen cases where hook rate is 40%, 50%, but the ROAS is not sustainable, or vice versa, where the hook rate, the founder story with the ad which generated 110, 120,000 plus in sales, that ad had a 20% hook rate, right? So the three metrics you should look, right? North Star always is CPA or ROAS, but then secondary metrics can be storytelling metrics like hook rate, hold rate, average play time, or CTR. Which tools do we use for assessing performance? Since Meta TikTok, we don't see the actual numbers. You actually see numbers. I don't know why you're saying you don't see the numbers. Maybe Virginia, if you can unmute and clarify.
Sure. I mean that the numbers for conversions like ROAS, because of the attribution, the platform
Okay.
differs from, yeah.
Okay. So a good way would be to, I think the conversions are there, but they are not 100% accurate, right? So you just lean on based on what platform numbers are getting reported, since that attribution loss is more or less there for all other creators as well, right? So there is an apples to apples comparison. But if you are at a big scale of spend, you should get a tool like Triple Whale or third party attribution platforms like this. But more often than not, Motion App does a great job of this creative analytics session, right? So yeah, guys, I think we're almost coming up on time, 5-ish minutes. How much can we charge as a freelance performance creative to work with a disease brand? I think that's not our forte to answer. But yeah, the last bit I wanted to answer was if you guys think creative strategy is very tough to learn, and as a media buyer, you want to upscale yourself as as a creative strategist, as a creator, you want to upscale your team. John here, my friend, first of all, he has a great community at Zarex, right? High five, John, on that. I've been part of that community recently, and John and I together, we're planning to launch a creative strategy course, which is in works. So this was like a brief promo of what we plan to do, right? The creative strategy course is going to be very detailed, very actionable for you as a media buyer or as a creative strategist. Right, link to the community, John. Feel free to drop in comments, and yeah. So we'll keep you guys posted on that, on whenever that course launches. And thank you very much. Cheers.
Hey Anirudh, like we'll be able to get access to that slide deck that you like used in the.
Yeah, I'll share. So I'll share the slide deck. I'll share the recording link, and then I'll share some of the templates which I discussed. We'll give you guys all of that. Just allow a day or two, so we collate that.
Got it. No worries. Thank you. It was great.
Wonderful. Awesome, guys. Thank you very much. In case there aren't any more queries or questions, we'll drop off and close the session for today.
Hi, Amit. Am I audible?
Yeah, and we'll go ahead.
So this one question what I had was I've already asked it, but I'm just not clarified it. So like I have a good experience in the creative strategy field. The past 1 years I've been working with several UGC brands. So I'm just trying to explore the US as well as the UK and the Canada markets to work with D2C brands directly and provide like performance creative as a service. So I'm just like a bit confused as of how much to actually charge them if I want to work on a monthly retailer
As
basis.
a creator,
Creative, yeah, performance creative. So like I will be working in
charge,
full
it's very
fledged
difficult
creative
to
channels.
answer, Anwar, because it depends on your skills. The market rates are very dynamic, right? The market rates vary a lot, anywhere from $3,000 a month to $12,000 a month. So yeah, you can charge minimum maybe $3,000 a month.
Thank you. That was helpful. And what if, for example, if I'm working on a contract basis, for example, they would require only 2 to 3 UGC briefs. So, what do you think would be an average cost of one UGC briefs? Do you have any idea?
John, do you have a response to that? I'm not 100% sure. One UGC brief, like 100, 150. I don't think they pay more based on a creative. Like it's better for you to work on a fixed fee rather than per creative.
Thank you.
Cool, guys. I think that's about it. No more queries or questions. Like I said, we'll send you the recordings.
Can I ask one last question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so sorry. We discussed that for if it's sales, we should go for mobile production or iPhone production, right?
Mhm.
So when should we go forward with a studio production or a full scale
When there is
production?
brand awareness, or when do you want to create, like when you're working with brands, AAA brands, Nike, Amazon, Coca-Cola, like when the brand,
Yeah,
you want to work with the brand which says, hey, this is not on brand for us, or we don't want to do this kind of a content, right? Like when you have a very tough client, then you go for that creative production, and they also need to have that budget, right? Then
yeah, got it. Thank you.
Oh man, just whatever you just shared right now, just it's gonna get crazy. I'm sure. Like
oh yeah, very excited
it's
about
really good. It's amazing.
yes,
It's
absolutely.
it's NASA level creative strategy. I think that's a good headline. Yeah. I really believe so. I touch upon this, but I think you guys take it to a whole different level, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited for it.
Amazing, amazing, love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank you
for
so much
coming.
for
We
coming.
appreciate your time and attention. And we will see you next time. The next time Annie runs one of these things. Right, Annie?
Cheers, cheers, for sure. We'll
Yeah.
have one of
Okay.
these.
All
Thank you,
right.
John. Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.